I gotta say, it's such a blessing and a curse to live in this new streaming era of music. The obvious good is that music is now easier to release and more accessible than ever. The playing field is suddenly evened, and you no longer need $1 million record deal to make $1 million. On the other hand, those sneaky artists and their sneaky labels have found ways to finesse the system and inflate their numbers. This is why you see so many stars packaging their albums with clothes or action figures or even energy drinks. Another way to inflate this number is just sticking 40 songs on a project and hoping that they either all stream average numbers or a handful of them stand out from the pack. I can't even begin to count how many times I've said to myself, if they cut this bitch in half, it'd be perfect. Perfect example, Culture 2 by Migos. It dropped in 2018 with two dozen tracks and a runtime that is longer than almost every single Toy Story film. But you know what? Let's one up that. Repeat offender Chris Brown has dropped numerous projects with the same runtime as Avengers Infinity War. I'm going on a quick tangent here, but after doing some research for this video, I discovered that in the past, Chris Brown has repackaged one of his 45-track albums into a 57-track album with the incredibly long title, excuse me one sec, Heartbreak on a Full Moon Deluxe Edition, Cuffing Season, The 12 Days of Christmas. Just wow, I'm speechless. I mean, with a name like that, it's gotta be just as good as my favorite video game of all time, Dragon Quest IX, spelled in Roman numerals, Space S, Echoes of an Elusive Age, Definitive Edition for the Nintendo Switch. This somehow brings me to the extended play, also known as the EP. EPs are basically the happy meal to the standard album's Big Mac. While your standard album generally ranges from 10 to Heartbreak on a Full Moon Deluxe Edition, Cupping Season, The 12 Days of Christmas tracks, EPs are shorter in length and are usually about 5-ish songs. These shorter projects can not only be hugely refreshing in an era of saturation, but they also allow rappers to cut the fat in a sense and keep all that filler to themselves. So with all that out of the way, let's get into today's review proper. Wale's The Imperfect Storm EP. An EP that I've been pretty excited to talk about. It just gave me more and more ideas as I was listening to it more and more. So basically, this EP fits comfortably in the category of kinda about a topic, but not really. The tape describes itself on the outro of song 3 as Wale claims, "In these trying times, I'm just trying to provide a vibe." I could basically summarize the entire EP by simply saying that you're getting what you expect. The production is silky smooth, filled with light drum patterns, soft piano melodies. I think I heard some acoustic guitar in there somewhere. You know, the usual for Wale. Eric Bellinger and Chris McClenny do background vocals here and there, and they aren't too bad. Though I will say Bellinger's singing on Empty Wishing Well was personally not for me. The song Majo stands out in the track listing for its African-inspired rhythmical production, and the song actually samples Nigerian singer and songwriter King Sunny Ade. Personally, I think it's great having that Nigerian flair here. It really differentiates this track from the rest. Oh yeah, the song Blue, Yellow, Green, Pink, White turns the cha-cha slide into a chill banger, so that's pretty unexpected but also pretty fire. Wale's lyrics and delivery here are also pretty great, but again, not too much to point out. I mean, Wale is generally pretty slick with his flows, tight with his lyrics, and you definitely get that here. The tape is short, where you can listen to each song numerous times, and after doing this, I haven't really heard too many lyrical duds. While the EP is only 6 tracks, you can tell that Wale definitely put a lot of care into each and every one. It's a small lyric, but one that sticks out to me was Wale at one point rapped, "Tomato or tomato, man, I'm still playing catch up." And, you know, let's be transparent here. The line on its own is pretty generic, and I would not be surprised if that exact line word for word has been said before. But the distinction here is the flow and the placement of words, and that sort of creates the cleverness that I'm referring to. After he says the words "still playing," the beat cuts him off, and then he finishes the statement with "catch up" on the next line, as if he's actually playing catch up with the song. Also, do you want to know how I know he's saying catch up and not catching like every lyric site is reporting? Well, if you listen closely, you can faintly hear him sucking his teeth after he gets cut off, as if he's mad that the beat cut off his train of thought. Check it out, it's pretty great.
Tomato or tomato, man, I'm still playing. Yeah, catch up.
In terms of actual substance and subject material, two of the songs seem to specifically be about a woman or women in his life, but the EP touches on a handful of topics, including, once again, social commentary. I'm joking around, but while we are seeing an increase in quote-unquote wokeness from our favorite artists, I'm not saying it isn't logistical, needed, or welcome. You see, while Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist added a sense of elegance to their social commentary, and then RTJ added anarchy to the mix, Wale adds some well-needed relatability. And this makes sense to me, because I feel like Wale's music has resonated the most with the everyman, or every woman. You know, he brags like every other rapper does in every other song on the planet, but a lot of Wale's topics were about people, or relationships, or situations, or dilemmas. The grandeur and ego of Freddie Gibbs isn't really found here, and I think that aspect will open listeners' eyes, or ears more. You know, sometimes he's talking about quarantine activities, or the loss of a summer, and other times he's talking about the racial injustices that Black people are beyond sick of. And he does it in a way where he's not just preaching rhetoric down your throat. Let's go back to that song, Blue, Yellow, Green, Pink, White. I don't know how I've even remembered the name of that song so well. The song is named after the lyric, blue, yellow, green, pink, white, I ain't about to judge nobody, live life. So what exactly do these different colors represent here? One of the first interpretations I picked up, as well as what Genius is reporting it to be, is that he's rapping about the different colors of drugs and saying that everyone has their reasons for doing them, so he's not going to criticize anyone. But you see, the woke listener would interpret each color to signify differences in people, whether that be race, age, sexual orientation, meaning that the whole line is basically Wale just saying, I don't care that you're different. What reason do I have to judge you? That live life statement really hits different when you think about all the people who have lost lives because of their differences. The first half of the song, June 5th / Queens and Gods, probably contains the most social commentary out of every song on this EP. And again, it handles its subject matter really well. June 5th is like the antithesis of Fight the Power or Fuck the Police. Two incredibly revolutionary songs, by the way. In the way that while those songs rouse listeners and ask them to, raise anarchy or straight up murder people, June 5th paints some scenarios, raises some questions, and then allows the listener to come to their own conclusions. I don't want to spoil things here, but if you listen to one song on this EP, make sure it's June 5th. It's probably just as intense as those previously mentioned songs, but in a very, very different way. And with that, that's Wale's The Imperfect Storm EP. And what a ride. I gotta give it a solid A here. While much of what Wale does here is very similar to his other work, his show raps and social commentary really adds some much needed tranquility to the topic, while not disregarding the importance as a whole, you know what I mean? I think Wale really did accomplish the simple job of just creating a vibe through the madness that has been 2020. So thank you to Wale for giving me a ton of new material to add to my Chill Vibes playlist. And also, just to get a little serious here, since I've been talking about the racial injustices in America a lot, check the description for links to some organizations and causes you can donate to. And I'll actually be doing the same for the past 2 reviews we've done on our channel, so be sure to check those videos out too. If you're listening on SoundCloud, then I have honestly no clue if we can put any links up in the description. So if you don't see any there, then just search up A-List Playlist on YouTube or go to the link in our Instagram. So with all that out of the way, thank you all for listening or watching or whatever you're doing. And check out our YouTube, SoundCloud, and Instagram at A-List Playlist for more musical content. So with all that, I've been Alex. This has been A-List Playlist, you feel me? And thanks again for listening. Stay safe out there, people. Deuces.